interludes between the performances. And right now we have with us a very special person, Stefan Hersch. He's a violinist, he's a teacher, he's the co-founder of Darnton and Hersch Fine Violins in Chicago. Also, as if that weren't enough credentials, the artistic director of Guarneri Hall in Chicago. Stefan and co-founder Michael Hersch have been wonderful partners with Fischoff for many years. Since the 2020 competition, they have sponsored the Senior String Division Video Recording Prize. We want to talk about that in a moment, and that recording is done at the acoustically stunning Guarneri Hall. Stefan, thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure.
Making time for us. People just a few moments ago saw a beautiful performance by the Merz Trio, or part of a performance, just a little teaser, performing Schumann's Widmung. Yes, and tell us a little bit about the prize. What was the intention of offering that, and what projects have you worked on with Fischoff alumni?
Sure. Well, the Merz Trio video was actually the first one we did back in 2019. We did 2 videos with them when they came in. And the concept here is that these exemplary groups that come with all of this polish and gorgeous playing are a beautiful model for other young people who would aspire to play music and get to know music. And that's a big part of our mission anyway at Guarneri Hall. So we leaped at the opportunity to partner with Fischoff to bring these groups in and make videos of them. And we hope that those videos do, in fact, amplify their careers and draw young people to music and what we care about.
That's wonderful, and thanks for doing that. You are actually a parent of a former Fischoff medalist. What was that like for you?
Yeah, my son Alexander Hersch is a really fine cellist, and these days he's moved into a phase of his career where he is not doing Fischoff anymore. He's 28, almost 29 years old. Time flies, but his Fischoff experience was really wonderful. This was in his high school days. He had a group that he played with from the Music Institute of Chicago, and they collected for a whole season around preparing for this. I did some preparation with them, and they had more regular coachings with the MIC faculty. And then they came here, and I think this was Alex's first experience with a kind of major national level competition, and he loved it so much that he's gone on to do a whole bunch more, and occasionally having success too.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations to him.
Thank you.
Yeah. So he would have been in the junior division.
That's correct.
At that time.
That's correct. And he always had conflicts with the senior division things that came up.
Oh,
after other competitions
that's
and things.
too bad.
It is too bad. He might have done well.
Yeah. So you have a perspective on the Fischoff competition. How have you seen it change over the years? I mean, I was talking to Tom Rosenberg a little while ago, and he was talking about what's happened in the junior division specifically. I mean, how have you seen things change over the years?
Well, first of all, the level of these young people and how it rises year after year is extraordinary. When I was first aware of the Fischoff, I don't think the collegiate groups would necessarily have had a leg up on the junior division now. It's really, really strong. And it's kind of mind-boggling. I mean, in the day when I came through conservatory training, we would have been bowled over to be playing at the level these guys play at. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Now, I pushed Tom to give me an explanation for how have the juniors risen so far? I mean, I can remember. I was around Fischoff when the junior division definitely sounded like the junior division.
Right.
Not to be critical of them, but
they were learning.
They did.
They were learning.
Right. They were just beginning, and now, as you say, they're marvelous. How did they get there?
I think one of the big game changers has been the internet. They all have access to view incredible performances, both current and past, and that information sets a standard in the rehearsal room that's different than what we had.
Yeah.
I was starting out back in the days of LPs, and that was great. It helped us, but we didn't have that kind of shared experience of all of this legacy of performances that are out there. And I think that they're reacting to that and setting a standard for themselves, and their instructors can then set a standard and reference that model or those models, and it just changes the learning. It's incredible.
Okay, so you struck a blow for the internet. I admit there are things about the internet that bother me.
Me too.
As an oldster. But that's a very positive thing.
Right, and we can argue with the failings or the shortcomings or the fear that the internet inspires. But Gwinnett Hall, for instance, is an example of me personally, as an oldster like you, embracing it and saying we may not like it, but it's here, so let's figure out how to turn these lemons into lemonade.
Yeah.
And so Gwinnett Hall as a project is all about using the access the internet provides to make all of this content available. And so we make a lot of content and we distribute it for free for just that reason.
Yeah.
Let's get the best out of this.
Yeah, you have a long-running, wonderful commitment to the Fischoff, and I guess this is the last question I have time to ask you.
Sure.
But what is it about Fischoff? What are its strengths that drew you and your firm to get behind it so forcefully?
Well, this incredible standard that's set here year in and year out. The staff, who I've become very closely affiliated with, we have communication all during the year about all kinds of things. And that ability to connect with this cohort of students that come through, and they're really professionals at this point, they're not students, but this cohort that comes through every year, honestly, it may seem like a boon to Fischoff, but I feel like it's at least as much of a boon to us to have that access. It's really a great, great partnership for us.
That's wonderful. Stefan, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Stefan Hersch, co-founder of Darnton and Hersch Fine Violins. If you're in the market, check them out.
Thanks.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Mark.
And that brings us to the Junior Division string semifinals, which are about to begin. One can only imagine how these young musicians feel when they approach the latent stage, although we have some idea from Stefan's son. To be able to perform as juniors, they may not be older than 18. This year, we have one competitor as young as 9 years old. And yet, when you hear these groups play, you will be amazed at their self-assurance and even more, their talent. Enjoy.